Hello and welcome to this episode of Fish Stripes Live, very first episode of 2023. Let's go. Brand
Let's
new
go.
new streams and new signings.
Classic.
But before we start off the show, I wanted to give a quick, everyone from here, Fish Stripes, sending prayers and thoughts to Damar Hamlin from the Buffalo Bills. That was definitely one of the scariest sights to see live and to watch that and everything going on with him. So everyone here at Fish Stripes want to give our prayers, thoughts, our best wishes to Damar Hamlin and his family. So to go on that note, I want to go ahead and transition now, talk about a little bit what's coming up on this stream. And the very first topic I want to discuss is Mr. Brian Gonzalez riding right there. Gene Segura signing a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Miami Marlins, coming off a World Series appearance with the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's start off with Mr. Isaac, who's already in the party spirit with the best hat so far he's ever worn on stream. Isaac, tell me a little bit about Gene Segura. What should we expect and how he fits with the Marlins?
It was a little bit of a clunky fit, I thought, but you're getting one of the better pure hitters that Miami has had during this build since 2018, in my opinion. He's going to put up a great at-bat every single time. He's not someone that strikes out a lot. So I think Miami did a great job in signing him at a pretty good value. Now, the problem is I'm not sure exactly where he's going to play too much. The thought is he's going to play third base every single day, which he has not played a lot of games. I think it was 24 career games at third. So he's just going to make sure we're going to see a lot of spring training clunkers, I would think. But other than that, he's going to be hitting second, third, in the top third of the order all year long. I'm very excited about this signing.
Looks like a good third baseman right there.
Yeah.
This is from 2020. So we have a new article actually up on Fish Stripes specifically about his defense and how I think that's going to go with him at third. It is an unusual situation, but it's not unprecedented of guys switching from the middle infield to third base in the middle or the latter half of their career. I mean, A-Rod is the most famous example. That was a unique one. To me, the ones that are the most comparable to Segura is the first one that came to mind was Asdrubal Cabrera, who was with he was with Cleveland for a long time, and when he came over to the National League in his early 30s, he became like a utility guy, but primarily third base. And then also Michael Young was a long time shortstop for the Rangers, and in his early 30s, he tried third base. So those are, I think, Asdrubal Cabrera, that would be like a decent defensive outcome for Segura, where he was like a passable guy over there at that position. Michael Young is kind of a horror story. He was terrible, and he was kind of washed right when he made that transition. With Segura, I mean, what stands out right here is the arm strength. I think other people have noted this as well, is that he had basically the strongest arm out of any second baseman in baseball last year, and it was so strong that it was like middle of the pack for a third baseman. It is a Matt Chapman, Ryan McMahon type of arm. Like, it is an asset to him. The question is probably everything else, the reaction time. I have a separate video of that somewhere. I'll see if I could get it loaded up later. So I think the bottom line is it's easier to like get on board with this just because he's such a safe and consistent hitter. The floor is really high on him, and the Marlins needed more guys that you could just rely on their bat, even if it's not super duper sexy. And then the other hidden benefit of this is just the elephant in the room with Jazz is that you just don't know how durable he's going to be over the course of a full season. If he does get hurt at some point, then Segura is a much better backup plan than anybody else they had at second base. And then you could rearrange things around there. So that is something that, at the very least, when you add it all together, especially for the price that they paid in this market, 2 years, $17 million, I think they're getting their money's worth for that for sure.
And I want to bring in our guest, Mr. John Rodriguez. Oh,
what was that, Mr.
what was that?
Rodriguez?
That must have been. Oh, was that a Harold Ramirez hat? I don't know.
Supporting, Harold and the many pictures we've had. But hey, happy 2023, first stream that I show up on, and yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, John, we were just talking about Gene Segura. You could tell us a little bit about Gene. How you think he's going to fit in with the team? Your thoughts overall in the signing, and maybe what else the Marlins need to do so far?
Oh, guys! Breaking news: Charles LeBlanc got DFA'd.
No way!
That's the last news. I am in. This is
Alex. Alex, I need a quick reaction. Wait. Before we go, hold up. Wait.
They're just not.
Per Jordan
That's
McPherson.
the move.
That's a horrible move.
They're just not huge believers in Charles LeBlanc. I don't know what else to tell you. They're just not huge believers in Charles LeBlanc. I don't know what else to tell you.
Wow, we had it ready.
Wow. Breaking news. Charles, that's crazy.
Carver, come on.
Alex,
It's time to talk.
Alex, this is your guy. Just tell us a little bit about this instant reaction, live reaction from Alex Carver. I need this.
That's nuts.
I mean, what do you want me to say? It's the wrong move. You got guys in the bullpen you can get rid of. Nance Brazoban. Guy plays everywhere, earned it in AAA, played well with the Marlins, and now he'll look for another team. So it's a mistake.
So
Wish the best for Charles. Really like that guy. I'm not a fan of this at all. As you guys know, I like this player.
Wow.
Did have too many did a couple too many infielders. There's crowding there. I understand that, but you keep a player like that around. You can put him in the outfield if you need to. It's the wrong move. It's straight up the wrong move. Miguel Rojas, of course, will still be here as we knew. Birdie will still be here. There's value there. Wendell, I honestly thought he could have been a piece in a trade and an expiry contract. A lot of teams are interested. And, we waited a while for this DFA, as Kevin has pointed out a couple times, and this is the move, and I don't agree with it. So who knows what goes on from here, but this is a bad move. Not the right move.
LeBlanc was one of those, in my opinion, that high floor bat, one of the few guys that they had rolling around in AAA. He would have started the season in Jacksonville. No reason not to. And that if Segura or Jazz got hurt, LeBlanc would be my choice to come up and play in the majors. So, wow, I did not see that coming. Craig wasn't lying when he said that the Marlins are not big fans of him. They could have DFA'd.
So let's see how this plays out over the next few days. It would be very deflating if you pick up a guy in the minor league phase of the rule draft, the afterthought of all afterthoughts. He performs the way he did at AAA and then in the majors, and then you end up losing him potentially for nothing. That would be really disappointing because, really the way that the bright side of it would have been that you give this guy a chance, he comes through, and even if he doesn't fit in your future plans, even if you do prefer to put playing time in the hands of more established high ceiling players, it'd be a really rough look if they somehow bungled this. Just a reminder, when you designate someone for assignment, you have a full 7 days to negotiate trades. With LeBlanc, it's tricky. So he's 26 years old. He still has all his minor league options left, and those have value in the market. So I think just as we didn't expect him to be DFA'd, I think we expect him to be claimed by somebody at the very least. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, they get something in return. He's an interesting player because just by the eye test, he's a lot of fun to watch. His plate approach, his ability to use all fields, his defensive versatility as well. There were some red flags with his performance in terms of just the swing and miss rate and what the strikeout rate overall. Like there were limitations here. The timing surprises me. I'll just say that.
For LeBlanc in 48 games played. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Kev.
Go ahead.
156 at bats, 4 home runs, 10 doubles. He is what Eli was mentioning: 53 strikeouts to only 12 walks. That was just a little concerning there. 723 OPS for a 104 OPS plus. So not the worst. There are a lot worse hitters that could have been, or the Marlins actually currently have, than Charles LeBlanc. Kev, what is your reaction to this after getting the news?
Yeah, no, I do believe he'll get claimed, as Eli said. If he doesn't get claimed, I'll be very, very shocked. But this is a guy who was even taking reps at first base towards the end of the year. Not saying he would have started there or been the opening day guy, but this guy provides a lot of defensive versatility, basically the whole infield. And maybe Carver could tell me, but he also plays the outfield, some outfield at least. So he was one of those guys who I really did not expect to get DFA'd. We all mentioned Nance and Brazabont as the guys. I really don't know. And I guess Miami couldn't find a trade either to trade LeBlanc or Joey Wendell or whoever one of these other infielders are. So at the moment, the infield still, I guess you could say it's crowded because they have Xavier Edwards. I don't think he'll start at the major league level. They still have Groshans. We'll see what happens there with those guys. But who knows? We'll see what happens. I do not agree with the decision to DFA him. And Miami has to be very, very confident to DFA someone like him that he will not get claimed, which I believe he will.
Well, you wanted a move to be done. You got your move.
Yeah, we got the move.
I feel bad for LeBlanc. He played very well. He's going to get a chance somewhere else. I do think it does kind of make sense that they would DFA LeBlanc specifically as the corresponding move for Segura, because they're replacing a third baseman with who they're planning on playing at third base. Again, I don't like the move, but it makes sense positional flexibility wise. The amount of players you have lined up for each position, it was getting kind of crowded, and LeBlanc became the odd man out. I don't agree with it, but it does make kind of a bit of sense.
Right. To me, I don't know if I totally agree with that take, but what it does mean is that, they did make a choice. They had to make some sort of choice, but the number of infielders they had on the 40-man roster, the other infielders they had on the 40-man, most notably Wendell and Rojas, and then also Garrett Cooper, all of them are a year away from free agency. And there was an expectation, at least from me, that they would look to cash in one of those guys for younger talent, which would save some money, would get them somebody with long-term control potentially at another position. I thought that was coming. So it is an interesting move that there's still time for this offseason to play out, but the likelihood that they're going with a relatively old infield and one where even though those guys are all decent players in their own right, and I could see it making sense, it's also a little risky because this is a team that the farm system is not in particularly awesome shape right now. And they want to put emphasis on improving this year. There just needs to be some balance too. Like trading one of those guys would be an opportunity to build up the farm a little bit, or at least maintain the level of talent you had down there. And now, if they're so determined, we'll get to this soon, I imagine, about trading starting pitching at the major league level to get major league pieces in return, then I just wonder about the long-term direction of this team. It's an interesting choice So I'm interested to see how the rest of it plays out. But I know that there were a lot of us expecting that eventually either Rojas or Wendell would be on the move somewhere as in relation to this Segura signing. And now that's not necessarily the case at all. It's possible they're all still here for opening day.
Yeah, it's interesting that you call it out. I mean, I know fans and all of us are interested in what they do with the major league team, right? And seeing how it works itself out as we go into the season coming up. But if you look at it long term, the Marlins really don't have many third base prospects unless you point at Edwards, who they just got, or Jordan Groshans, who is in major leagues and who knows if he will stick at third base. Past that, yeah, you talk about moving one of those shortstops that are at shortstop right now. If you move Jose Salas, then maybe he's the long-term answer, but there's variance with him too. So past that, there isn't that much. Just like first base, there's not that much there either. Not that LeBlanc was the youngest guy in the world, because he wasn't, but like Eli said, you trade one of those longer term or longer tenured guys, and Birdie or Wendell or Rojas or whoever it is, and or Cooper, whoever it is, not Birdie because he has control, but the rest of those guys, you got to search for a place for them where they fit to maybe get a little bit younger and maybe bring back a longer term piece on the infield, which is what I would have liked to see them do. Versus, I understand that they don't have a lot invested in Charles LeBlanc. They got the guy basically for nothing in the minor league Rule 5 draft. So you have something invested in Joey Wendell. You have money invested in John Birdie. You have something, I guess, invested in Miguel Rojas because you think he's the leader of the team, which is fine. So, again, looking at it long term, this is by far the wrong decision for them to make.
And that is so not the way to run a baseball
not
team.
trading one of those other guys. Like I said, with Wendell would have been the main guy that I would say. So if they go on from here and decide to actually trade Wendell, whether it be now or at the deadline, you literally lose LeBlanc for nothing. So I don't know. Very, very bad decision. I don't agree with this at all.
They're just not huge believers in Charles LeBlanc. I don't know what else to tell you. They're just not huge believers in Charles LeBlanc. I don't know what else to tell you. They're just not huge believers in Charles LeBlanc. I don't know what else to tell you.
We got it.
I guess he was right, honestly.
I look forward to seeing what he does for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic, though.
Like you said, that's just all the things you mentioned. They don't have a lot of invested in them. That's so irrelevant to running a baseball team. No matter what you have invested, Miguel Rojas is making $4.5 million a year,
right?
And you mentioned Wendell. They had Meisner for him, and all these other guys. Yeah, they have some stuff invested. It doesn't matter. The best player. I'm not saying he is, but the best player is LeBlanc, and you have nothing invested in him.
Right.
That shouldn't matter at all, and that just seems like what they've been doing this whole 5 years of running the team. They're not doing it intelligently, in my opinion, in that case, because who cares? You know,
do we still think they trade another infielder though? Because it's still pretty crowded when you think of it.
I think they keep. I never thought Wendell or Rojas would go. Wendell for the right reason. I think he's a lefty, and I think they like him, and I like him a lot. Rojas, they were never going to let go, in my opinion, and Nance either. They were. I think it was either Brazaban or LeBlanc. Unfortunately, I did not think it was going to be LeBlanc though.
The Marlins,
but Rojas, a lot of people thought, I guess, and I didn't. There's no way they're trading. They're getting. There's no way Rojas is not the starting shortstop on opening day. I did not see that.
He will be.
Yeah.
I guess Noah brought this up in our private chat. I wanted to clarify that if somehow LeBlanc does clear waivers and the Marlins outright him to the minors, he is at. Let me think about this for sure, because of his level of experience. When was he drafted?
Is he able to elect free agency?
I don't think so.
He hasn't been DFA'd before, and he doesn't have very much major league service time. But I think if he is, because this is in the off season, he was drafted 7 seasons ago. I think you're right that he would be able to elect free agency anyway. So it's it is over.
Drafted in 2016 by the Texas Rangers. So he would be able to elect free agency.
Well,
I don't foresee that being his route. I foresee somebody getting this player and claiming this player. Hopefully the Marlins get something for him. Hopefully that's what you hope within this week time frame that Eli pointed out, but probably be very little anyways. If they do get something for a DFA player, it's usually very little. So wrong move. Disagree. I think we all do, but here we are. So go forward from here.
Gabriel is saying this is Harold Ramirez 2.0.
They could
be. They get rid of a guy who all he does is hit, and maybe he doesn't do a whole lot more than that, but hitting is pretty valuable. And if you think he could be even better than he was his first year, the way that Harold has gotten better since he left the Marlins, then you'll regret it. I didn't have the same infatuation with him as I did with Harold, but nonetheless. Wishing him the best. He's playing in the World Baseball Classic, so we could be potentially in Miami at some point anyway.
I don't think Canada makes it, but I would not be surprised.
And had a short stint with, I know Kevin likes Dominican Winter Leagues, had a short stint with Tigres de Licey and hit 281 and in a few games, but still hitting wherever he went, he was hitting. So I don't understand. But whatever.
I'll miss him. He was
at least Harold had the sprint speed, but I still liked LeBlanc a lot. I like LeBlanc.
Yeah, the official press release for Segura is now out.
Mm-hmm. They already made everything official.
They did the social post. It is as official as official could be. As we finally get our host back in here.
There it is.
Yeah.
At least they didn't do Nick Fortes or something, You never know what these guys are going to do.
Yeah, so it still leaves them with a lot of pitchers on the roster. 23 out of the 40 guys on the 40 men are pitchers. 2 of them are going to go straight to the IL when spring training starts anyway. That's Bender and Max Meyer.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Daniel, what's next?
Well, next, you were just talking about pitchers. Let's talk about one more. Let's talk about Mr. Johnny Cueto.
Oh, yeah.
Rumored to be coming to Miami. Isaac, you were very adamant on talking about Johnny Cueto. You want him on the Marlins.
He had that prepared like an hour ago.
That's hilarious.
Does Johnny Cueto get any Hall of Fame votes, by the way?
Not if he plays for the Marlins.
He is going to be eligible for, I think he's going to be on the ballot just because of how many years he's pitched in the majors, and he's going to get through the first round of vetting for candidates for that. Geez, 14 plus years of service time for Cueto. He is old. Wow. He's going to be 37 next month. He's had some great accolades during his career, and then last year, I know Kevin is focused on this in particular. He had a really interesting revitalization of his career when it looks like he was kind of on his way out of baseball. Mm-hmm. So, and then the news today, just so I could get everybody on the same page from Ken Rosenthal, is that Marlins and Padres are at the forefront of chasing down Johnny Cueto, with the Reds also hanging around in the background.
Ooh. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Cueto. I just think Miami learned their lesson when they signed Gio Gonzalez to that contract with an invite to spring training. He retired, and they never replaced that type of player for them, and it ended up to bite them in the ass. So I think they need someone like Cueto. Even if they don't trade any starting pitcher of their 6 guys, of their 6 major league ready guys, even if they keep all 6, I'm still under the opinion that they should sign someone like Johnny Cueto, because something will inevitably go wrong, whether it's an injury or it's bad performance. They could use all the starting pitching help they can get. Yes, they have some guys in the minors that'll be ready come mid-season, but you can never have enough starting pitching. And Johnny Cueto will pitch every 5th day in the 3rd or 4th spot in the rotation for this year. And if Miami's out of it, or when Miami's out of it, he can probably bring you back something decent at the deadline.
I just think if you're looking for that Gio Gonzalez type of guy, Cueto would be nice, but maybe a name that would be cheaper. And Cueto, the thing with Cueto is he's going to go to the team that's going to give him the best.
I was going to say, it comes down to money when it comes.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to money, and it's going to come down to whether he cares about competing. I'm sure he has family, or I'm not sure exactly where he resides in the offseason, but Miami's got to be a pretty attractive option if he's not really interested in the whole competing thing. But, he might like it here. Sandy's here. A lot of fellow Dominicans are here maybe that like it, but there's also in San Diego. So I think it's going to go about the money with this player, and I would give him $10 million, and I would cut it off at that.
Go, Kevin. Go ahead.
What I wanted to mention is, like, if we're talking about that Gio Gonzalez type role, maybe Cueto would be amazing. That's the perfect guy. But do you really think Johnny Cueto would like to have a Gio Gonzalez role after the season he had? He was pretty good, and I think he would like to pitch every 5th day in the rotation.
Yeah, he would.
Unless you're going 6-man rotation. I mean,
no. He would pitch every 5th day. That's what I meant.
No. Okay.
This is a veteran addition, but not exactly Gio Gonzalez. Cueto would be rotation all year long. That is
Yeah. All right.
You don't. I think you guys called it out. Isaac called it out. You don't get into a bidding war for something like this. There's other teams that are interested. You don't get into a bidding war with this, and the Marlins don't get into bidding wars anyways. But I think this is a bad spot to do it if they were to ever do it. So, I mean, like you said, you can never have too much pitching. Maybe they need a veteran starter to go into the season with just to lock down that back end of the rotation. Yeah, I agree with that. But like you said, Yuri Perez, Jake Eater, maybe Dax Fulton. You got 3 guys right there. Just there's 3. I can mention a little bit more deeper down guys like MD Johnson that could contribute to the Marlins this coming season. So I don't see them getting into a bidding war. I wouldn't get into a bidding war over a veteran starter, but if you can get somebody on the cheap to lock down the back end of the rotation, sure, do it.
I put this together so that people can get on the same page about what the rotation depth really looks like right now. The only guy missing from here is Sixto Sanchez, but I think in most of our opinions,
he doesn't
he's missing until proven otherwise. Yeah. This is what they got. They got 6 on the 40-man roster that you feel really good about. And this also doesn't include Daniel Castano, who showed some stuff kind of last year. So and he's also going to be out of options. So he's somebody to keep in mind potentially. But other than that, this is the primary guys. It's Sandy, Pablo, Luzardo, Cabrera, Rogers, Braxton Garrett, Yuri at some point during the year for sure, probably by the middle of the season. Jake Eater, we'll find out potentially during the season, but he's come back from Tommy John and didn't pitch at all last year. Brian Hoeing still hanging around. Chichi Gonzalez and De Jesus and Manuel De Jesus where they're signed on minor league deals and are here. It's you can see why there's some room for improvement because I mean outside of Edward and obviously Sandy and when you talk about minor league options are very valuable for building together your deepest possible team for the whole year. Would be pretty insane if both Trevor and Braxton started the year in the minors. I mean, they deserve better than that, but in terms of could they actually make room for another veteran starting pitcher in order to prepare themselves for a long season? I mean, that is something they can do. They can send down even some very good pitchers to the minors in place of veterans if they think those veterans are really reliable. Because over the course of the season, you don't need 5 starters, you don't need 6, and you don't need 7. You need like at least 8 that you really trust for a significant amount of time. And are there 8 guys here that they can trust, especially if they trade one of these top level guys?
Wait, so you're saying you don't trust Chichi Gonzalez, Eli? Why? Why not?
I wouldn't say it's impossible that Trevor Rogers begins the year at AAA. Not impossible, unlikely, but not impossible. Because if he has a bad spring and Braxton has a great one, it'd be those 5. If you get, it wouldn't hurt to have Johnny Cueto there. That's all I'm saying.
It wouldn't hurt to trade one of these guys either. I mean, you need the bat, so
trade. Yeah, so think about they need Cueto with all of them. So especially when or if they trade Pablo.
Yeah, but I mean, you got 7 starters. Technically, with Braxton, if he's the odd man out, going to AAA. So
regarding the status of Alex Reyes, the reporting on it has confused me a lot because I don't think he's even throwing at full intensity yet. I don't think he's going to sign anytime soon until he's actually ready to pitch coming off a fairly serious shoulder procedure. He's hanging out with Sandy because he's friends with Sandy because both of them are represented by Alex's brother. Alex Reyes' brother is her agent. So the Marlins, I imagine, have interest in signing him when the time is right, but he wouldn't be part of their opening day mix anyway. So no urgency on that. No significant update, I don't think.
No. Yo, Danny, you there?
Oh, my thing froze. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, we can.
I wanted to hear John's opinion. We haven't heard from John since he was going to speak, but then the Charles LeBlanc news came out. John, I want to hear your opinion on Johnny Cueto.
On Johnny Cueto? With Charles LeBlanc, I don't like that move. But with Johnny Cueto, I do like the fact that you're kind of helping out the back end, as you guys mentioned. The fact that many guys went down with injury, and there was a point in time where we were running with 3 starters at the time. And there was conversations with the possibility of possibly nabbing Anibal Sanchez at one point, once upon a time. Yeah. And I think getting a guy like Cueto, it's not a bad option, honestly. He reminds me, I mean, with the connections that the Marlins have had with getting 2015 World Series champions when we also had Volquez as well. So you're getting another guy in that rotation that the Royals had. So I'm not against it. I actually would like that signing. It's really good for Miami. Not only that, he's also a mentor. He's got experience. He knows what winning looks like. So let's do it. Bring him on. I would love that signing.
I also want to mention the way Cueto winds up. It's like it's an art.
He does really, a little wiggle motion.
I watched some of his highlights today just for fun, and not many people do that, but I'm that guy. And it's so unpredictable, just the way the wind up and then the pitch that comes out. It's either the same pitch just going a different way, or it's impressive. Johnny Cueto's an impressive pitcher. I think it would be good for the Marlins, and yeah, you should sign him.
It's tough for hitters. You know, it's
very tough
sometimes.
Yeah,
he makes it difficult. He's an interesting character, like Henderson Alvarez type entertainer guy.
Yeah.
A fun fact about Cueto: Isaac actually got his hat wearing maneuvers from Johnny Cueto. Speaking about different players in Marlins, I want to acquire another one. mentioning in the news is Mr. Tristan Casas from the Boston Red Sox. Eli, can you give us a little information on this whole story between the Marlins and Tristan Casas?
I think so. Tristan Casas, you need to go all the way back 4.5 years ago. 4.5? Yeah. When the Marlins did their due diligence about potentially trying to draft him out of high school, being a local guy in South Florida. And instead they went with Connor Scott, and Casas fell from the Marlins had the 13th overall pick. Casas fell all the way to 26 in the Red Sox. I was somebody that was fairly skeptical about Connor Scott throughout his developments. And as it turns out, they traded him a year ago. And at this moment, his future is very much in flux, whereas Casas debuted in the majors after a very steady and impressive climb up through the minors. He had like an 850 OPS in his minor league career while playing against older competition every step of the way. He's entering his age 23 season. And when he came up to the majors last year, I think he had an initial slump, but then finished very strong from the very beginning, showing really great plate discipline, great raw power. He's stuck at first base, but that's really the biggest knock on him, is that he's a first base only type of guy. It's just that when your offense is at a certain level, and when you are just getting started in your career, earning the league minimum this year and next year, under club control for another 6 years, like this is an immensely valuable player, especially for a Marlins team that doesn't really have a plan at first base beyond this year. They're interested. Not a ton of people in this front office are still left around from the 2018 draft, but those that are probably begging for a redo on that. It's an understandable interest, but I don't think that interest is mutual in any way. So it'd be a big surprise. It would take a ton to get him, and Kevin broke that down in an article that we put up on the site this morning.
Yeah,
he's going to be 23 next week. I remember when he played down here for American Heritage, and the guy was a pure hitter. Like Eli said, though, he's very limited defensively, first base or DH, and that's it. That's all you're getting. But you'd be trading for the bat, and it's pretty damn good. But it would take a lot. It's a defensively limited player. You put him at one spot, and that's it. So again, I don't see them giving up multiple assets, which is probably what it would cost for a player like that. Although it would be nice, because I do like him. I like his bat, but I agree with Eli. I don't see it being likely that they do it.
Yeah, unlikely, but I would be ecstatic if Tristan Casas somehow made it to Miami.
Yeah, Casas
underrated. Those Boston City Connects are really good looking.
Those things are brutal. I think they're horrible.
I think they look great.
That's your worst thing you've ever had.
I've had worse.
Brandon LaCruz hitting 30 home runs.
Listen to me. You listen to me.
Why are they yellow?
That Casas has very high walk rates. He walks a lot, and he's very patient at the plate. Strikes out, around that 20% marker, which I mentioned a lot more specifically in the article. But man, this would be a great acquisition for the Marlins. You immediately slot him in at first, and we've been hearing those reports that the Red Sox were interested in Rojas, Wendell. We also heard the Cooper report. So if Miami's willing to part with some of those guys in return for what would be a guy who is under control until the 2028 season, you really have to make that move. And Miami would get a Florida guy who I think we mentioned that he went to American Heritage. So I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah,
what could be the acquisition of Tristan Casas.
He's the best offensive prospect in baseball.
Even in that small cup of coffee that Eli mentioned that he got in the bigs, not a lot of bat to ball, but he saw big league stuff well. 19 walks, 23 strikeouts. So sees big league pitching, just needs to put the bat on the ball. Hopefully the Marlins or wherever he goes. I don't think it will be the Marlins, but wherever he goes or stays with the Red Sox, hopefully he can figure.
Carver, he muted
himself.
My bad. I was just saying he saw Major League pitching really well. Just needs to get the bat on the ball more consistently. But it was a small cup of coffee. So wherever he goes, or if he stays with the Red Sox, that's what he has to figure out. It's just like consistently put the bat on Major League pitching. But he saw it really well, which is a really good blueprint to have for a new player to the Major League. So
Carver,
it's gonna be good.
Who's got the higher floor, Blade or Casas?
Oh, brother.
I'm not answering that question. Let's move on.
What did I want to say? I think I lost my train of thought. But the big MLB news of the day, outside of LeBlanc and Segura, is the Rafael Devers extension. That it seems to be almost done. 11 years, $300 gajillion. And I pointed this out in our chat. I mean, I'm curious if maybe anybody has a slightly different view, but I think that makes Casas even less likely to move. Devers was entering his final year before free agency, creating some urgency for potentially the Red Sox to be competitive this year if they stood to lose him after already losing, of course, Mookie Betts a few years ago and Xander Bogaerts a few months ago. And now, having been able to reach a deal with him, there's a lot less urgency on the Red Sox to be good this year. It means that pretty much all their key players now are under control for multiple years moving forward. And for that reason, with somebody like Casas, who has really great potential for a team that also has a lot of questions about what they would do at first base if he wasn't there, there's less pressure for them to they can let him learn on the job. They don't necessarily need him to reach his ceiling right away in 2023 in his first rookie season. Because of that, putting that into perspective, I think whatever chance they had of trying to pry Casas from the Red Sox mostly went away with this Devers extension. It changes when you have a player like that and sign him to a deal like that. It could change like the whole strategy of the organization, their whole window. And I think that signals that they're willing to take a long view with key players like him.
Yeah. Ooh. Justin Turner could still play first, but I think Casas would be the main guy there.
Eli, why don't you dissect this one really quick? It seems like it would be and it makes sense because you got Pablo there for their now and Edward for their future. It might take a little bit more, like maybe an offensive prospect as well, but
you give up both pitchers?
Yeah, of course. You're going to have to give up both pitchers for a good guy. I wouldn't know how to do it for
We were just talking about the depth of pitching. I mean, you got to
immediately it goes away with that.
You got to get to get.
Let's see. So would I do this trade with Pablo and Edward for Casas?
No, I wouldn't do it. No,
for those, Tristan Casas and Miguel Blyce are 2 and 5.
For 2 years of Pablo, 5 years of Edward, you go sign Johnny Cueto, I do it.
No.
So 1 year.
I would like to keep one of Edward or Pablo.
They're different. It's like you can trade.
I know, but
I mean, Pablo was going to get traded. He's going to get traded early.
And then you trade one of Edward. You trade one of Edward Luzardo or like one of those younger.
You wouldn't trade Trevor?
Would I trade Trevor? Yeah.
Trevor instead of Edward?
Yeah. I'm more comfortable than but this is a lower price. It's only Trevor and Tanner Scott. Yeah, there's a big difference between Tanner Scott and like having a second really good starting pitcher. So I would be comfortable with this.
The Red Sox.
I don't think that's
butt with the phone.
Yeah, I don't think that's realistic when the secondary piece is just maybe
Tanner Scott for
Hey, no bullpen slander. You know the rules.
Tanner Scott for Tristan Casas 1-for-1. Let's do it.
That won't happen.
Tanner Scott's going to be nasty this year. I think Tanner Scott's going to be an all-star.
That would really be great because he'll finally start talking to me again.
Yeah, I'm sure when he's nasty, then he'll start talking to you. What? Capital.
I don't know if I agree with this comment. Yuri is on a different level in terms of his prospect potential, in terms of what he could be. With Edward, it's dicier because with Edward, the command that he has, even right now, being 5 years older than Yuri, is inferior to what Yuri already has. That's a pretty big component in all this. Yeah,
that's always been his main crux. I mean, his stuff is good. There's no question about his stuff. Fastball, changeup, slider, like his stuff is good, but sometimes he doesn't know where it's going. And I still think that's his main problem is control. I think control and command both are his main problem.
I think what Devin was referring to actually, because I see what he means in 2020 when 6-0 was disgusting in the playoffs and in Major League Baseball. People still thought Edward was going to be much better. And it's like not quite the number 9 prospect in all of Major League Baseball like Yuri is. Yeah. But Edward was thought of to be the best pitching prospect in the organization.
Sure, but he was never a 19-year-old doing Double A.
He was never Yuri, but he was like, a little bit below. Not too much below.
He's also got the injury stuff as well. He's got the background of injuries, and Yuri doesn't really have a background of injuries. I know Yuri's much younger, so there's less of a time frame there. But Edward always had the injury thing going on with him as well. So, it's different. I don't think you can even say that Edward was ever close to the type of prospect. Even though Edward is good, I don't think he was ever close to being the type of prospect that Yuri Perez is.
That's an interesting
prospect lists just like Yuri so much because of the age and the height and all that. Edward only got to 70th on the prospect list. So
Edward is right now. Edward is one of the more polarizing players in the organization right now. There's a faction that swears that he could be Sandy 2.0 because of just some very superficial similarities. Like there are some significant similarities. But Sandy was such an unusual case of the work that he puts in and the way that he problem solves from season to season and from part of the season to part of the season is so unique that Sandy that's unusual. You really just can't bet on somebody getting so much better on the job in the major leagues the way that Sandy has. But there are people that think that, and then there are skeptics that think that we may have already seen the best of Edward as a starter and that he simply is not going to put pitches where he wants to stick in that role, with also very fair questions about his durability. That is the most significant difference between him and Sandy, is that he's always hurt with something. There have been some unusual injuries. What was the nerve?
The nerve. The famous nerve.
Yeah, inflamed nerve. Get that right.
Oh, brother.
Right,
but more recently, he had
forearm nerve inflammation.
No, I don't think so. Right,
John's the one who got it right on
elbow.
Jeopardy. John's the one who got it right on Jeopardy. He obviously knows, guys.
After Alex spoon-fed it to him. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. That was a good one.
But we agree with you. This is Alex. That we don't expect Casas to get traded. It's okay to dream. This is a reminder that I do like the free agents still out there at first base. I like Brandon Belt a lot. I like Brandon Belt a lot, and he's still out there. And I don't know what chance they have to pry him all the way across the country, but he's still out there. He's still out there.
Cares about what he's about to say.
Hands raised. Gene Segura will wear number 9. Danny Alvarez just tweeted it.
First wearer since Lewis Brinson, I believe. Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah,
I have a Lewis Brinson number 9 uniform.
Get it.
Well, he wore 9 earlier in his career. He can't have 2, obviously.
So my brother got me his uniform.
No, Eric Gonzalez wore 9 last
year. Eric Gonzalez.
How can you forget?
The legend.
There was a whole conversation that they were saying that Jazz was probably going to slide over to 3. And Gene was going to take 2.
Yeah, for Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah. But I didn't really buy it.
Famous number 9s for the Marlins. Juan Pierre, Casey McGee, D. Gordon, Benito Santiago. The first 9 ever.
Casey McGee. Who invited him to the list? No, I'm kidding. I love Casey.
Hey, that was a great year.
I love him.
Great year.
Hits McGee.
And Devin Morrell. Kevin's favorite.
Devin Barrera. I remember that one.
That was a good one.
there anything else, Danny?
Honestly, I don't really think there's a lot left. I wanted to go into predictions. I have a fun prediction for all of you.
You have 20 minutes.
15 minutes, and we can take.
Well, you can take your time on your predictions. You can take your time.
Okay, let's do it.
There's no game.
Alrighty. Okay.
This is prediction time.
It's time.
So for this prediction time, I want to go around the room, and you're going to tell me one bold prediction for the Marlins this season. Could be a team-oriented, could be a player, could be stats, signing. The season, not off season. That's practically over.
Practically over.
Practically.
It's not even February.
It's the 4th of January.
Now, you think the Marlins are going to go ahead and trade Pablo Lopez for Tristan Casas?
A lot can happen, dude.
I want your bold prediction. I said for anything you want.
I think these should be bold predictions for the remainder of the offseason.
No, I like the season better. Go ahead.
The season.
The season. The whole lineup is already in the 40-man for right now. Let's start with Mr. Alex Carver.
Oh boy!
I don't think he ever gets the bat lead off. Let's go with Alex.
Charles LeBlanc was MVP of the AL.
Bold prediction for. Jeez, I don't know. I mean, there's variants here. I'll give you mine. I will say everybody has eyes on Yuri Perez. I will say that Dax Fulton will make his major league debut in 2023.
Ooh.
That will be my bold prediction.
I like that.
I like that one.
Not that bold.
Sufficiently bold. That's
It's
good.
sufficient. It's
Okay.
I like it. All right. Let's go with Mr. Kevin.
Oh, shit. I think Jesus Luzardo will win the NL Cy Young in 2023.
Whoa!
I think he's bound for a huge season, man.
You kind of stole mine. All right, Kev. I like it.
All right. Let's go with our esteemed guest.
I'm still shocked. My guess is if the Marlins season flops, they are due for a fire sale. I'm going the doomsday route.
Okay.
Noah, you can give your monologue.
How many homers is DLC hitting?
I'm not going with a Brian De La Cruz prediction. I think Miguel Rojas will have a respectable bounce back season and just bounce back from not hitting well and continue on Gold Glove caliber defense.
Too bad he won't see.
I think he'll hit over 250.
Okay. All right. Let me give you guys mine. My bold prediction is Jazz Chisholm will finish in the top 10 for the NL MVP voting. He will. I think Jazz is going to have his 30-30 season. I think it's going to be more of a breakout season than it was this one. I also project that Jazz is going to play over 150 games.
Whoa.
He's not going to be injured. He's going to be fully healthy. That's why he's going to be in the top 10 NL MVP voting, All-Star, all that. 150 games, 30-30 season. I think this is going to be Jazz's quote-unquote breakout season that puts him into superstardom.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't get broken.
Was Yelich the last one to do 30-30? Or did someone do it this year?
No one did it this year. For the Marlins?
Birdie had 41 steals.
Why do I go last?
While I'm up here, I should probably share some predictions from the chat. Roberto Sanchez, he's a 6-0 truther.
What?
That's the boldest one here.
I'll be shocked if he throws 10 pitches in the major league.
That's bold. That's bold. And Devin being like sarcastically bold, saying that 6-0 will.
Yes, give me your bold predictions in the chat. Here's Navi's.
Oh, what's Navi's?
That's good.
I like that one.
Wow. Okay.
I like that one. I respect that one.
Here is Anthony Stevens.
No, you can't have an if in there.
Oh, if. Here's a good one. Here, I want to see the reaction to everybody.
I have mine coming up whenever you're ready for me.
No.
Atlanta's calling.
I was thinking of saying that one.
No.
That's a good bold prediction, though. That's good.
I want to hear Eli's.
Yeah, go Eli.
Yeah, so mine will be kind of a biased one. I think right-hander Sean Reynolds. He's on the Marlins 40-man roster.
No.
I think he not only reaches the majors this year, I think he gets at least one save to the Marlins. He is built for that. He loves the high leverage situations. Born for that. I think at least once he gets into that scenario with the team this year as a rookie.
Listen to Fish on the Farms pod.
Oh, yes. Very recent interview with Alex Carver on Swimming Upstream, if you want to hear more from.
I'm shocked no one went with Skip Schumacher, Manager of the Year.
Thanks for the shout out. That
need to be
actual
good.
debut on another team.
Devin, I hope you're wrong. I hope Devin is wrong, but it's a possibility. I want to ask you guys a question about.
I'm going.
I just wanted to ask a clarifying question about Sean Reynolds. Does he make the opening day roster or no?
No.
Not the opening day roster, but at some point in the year.
I don't think so either.
Okay. I believe that Tanner Scott will be the best reliever on the Miami Marlins this year. Dylan Fleur will be the closer. Tanner Scott will be by far the best reliever, and he's going to be so good that they flip him at the deadline for a very good prospect, for a top prospect.
So you're saying he's going to do the Anthony Bass?
Yeah, he's doing the Bass.
Yeah, I was about to say, but they're going to do much better. In the third, Kim Ng's going to learn, and she's going to do much better than she did with the.
Hey, obviously, they believe they believe in Jordan Groshans because they kept
Tanner Scott will be Josh Hader in the first half of this season.
You're out of your mind.
I agree with that.
I think Tanner Scott's going to be the best eighth inning guy in baseball this year.
Yeah.
Wow. Anthony Bass, you got competition.
How did nobody say? How did nobody say Avi Garcia is going to hit at least 25 home runs?
I didn't want it.
Avi's a bounce back candidate.
Not a prediction. That's already going to happen. That's already.
I think that's a good one. Like outside of the one that I said, I think Avi just had some bad luck, guys. I think he's going to bounce back and hit at least 25 home runs.
That reminds
Garrett Hampson, 30
sarcasm is palpable.
That reminds me when Kim said that he's a proven 30 home run guy.
I am serious though. No, I was kind of, a little tongue in cheek there, but I do think he will bounce back and be a lot better this year. And I think he hits.
I agree.
I saw another recent pick of him, more recent than the Thanksgiving draft. I saw another recent pick of him with him continuing to look absolutely
he looks great.
Trimmed down. I was trying to find like the right pair of picks to compare year to year. I couldn't really find the right one, but he's in the best shape of his Marlins career, not of his whole career, but of his Marlins career.
I'd argue he might be in the best shape of relatively of his career age-wise, comparatively.
No. Wait, Eli, is it the Instagram story with that I think Jazz posted? He looked way more built. Like he looks actually built. He's in shape, and I think he's in a good form.
He told me at the Thanksgiving drive that he is eating so strictly. No hallacas, no arepas. Arepas maybe once a week when he visits his family. But he is very strict with his diet. He told me there. I was like, you look fantastic. Like you look
like because Aguilar's not here anymore, bro.
Carver, he actually told me that he's going to continue eating arepas because he doesn't want to lose his power. He actually said that.
All right, well, that's fair. In moderation, though.
Avi Garcia became very focused on getting back in shape towards the end of the season, and I would not be surprised if he really just goes on a tear at the beginning.
No, he's an amazing bounce back candidate to choose if anyone will choose him.
I just hope the next 90-minute meeting is about wins and how good they're playing. I think
Avi should steal 10 bases this year.
That's a pretty good bold.
See?
That's bold.
He had a couple last year.
Does he actually think that's how you spell his name, or?
I think he corrected it.
I like that. I like the name.
Jake Eater.
Okay, well, maybe he's talking about a different player that we don't know about yet. But as long as he's not talking about Jake Eater, EDER, becoming a closer, then we're good.
Yeah, he cleaned it up here.
So, you think here's one: Garrett Hampson over under 50 games played for the Marlins.
Under, but
I think
over
under
5 stolen bases.
No, he will play over 50 games.
It's unusual for a non-roster invitee to play over 50 games. It happens occasionally.
Well, Studios was a non-roster invitee, right?
Yeah, he didn't play 50 games. It felt like a lot more than it actually was.
No, it felt like 100.
Yeah.
Hey, no Astudillo slander. His his slide on that walk-off against the Pirates was legendary. It shook the building.
It was against the Nationals. But
so to end it, anyone have anything they want to mention? Bring up a quick topic before we go.
No, just
George
I don't know if
Soriano will
anyone-
make the opening day roster.
I don't know if anyone read the Herald piece. It's just very comforting knowing that, okay, they offered these players a substantial amount of money that I did not expect them to be offering to players like Jose Abreu and players like Justin Turner. 40 million range.
Yeah.
I thought they were done spending in the 8 figures. So it's just good to see that, they're not in a very bad situation.
So the moral of the story is that
they're trying. They're trying. To me, it's
they are trying. Bruce told me they're trying. Then clearly they are. They got great value.
They offered Brandon Jerry the highest amount, but he went to LA.
So the moral of the story is that players themselves are just not attractive.
Oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead.
They need to bring the fences in to attract a hitter.
They don't need to defend. No, that's probably the fences.
Completely frozen. Okay.
Hello?
I think you died for a bit.
Well, I think that's gonna do it before my connection just destroys everything on my computer now. That's gonna do it here for Fish Stripes Live, talking off season. We'll see you again next week. For Alex, Kevin, Noah, Isaac, Eli, John, I'm Daniel, and always go fish.
We gotta end it off right. We gotta